And we can talk about the interpretability of decision tree. People love the decision tree because decision tree is interpretable. When we look at this tree, then we know what's happening. That's why decision tree has been used in medical area, because doctors can understand what's happening. But if it is a neural network, then it's really hard to interpret what's happening in the neural networks. That's why we call it a neural network, a black box. Okay, so people love a decision tree because it is interpretable. As I said, in business or in medical area, the interpretability is also important, as well as accuracy. And we can visualize the tree with the sklearn tree plot tree. Okay, then you can see this kind of nice figure. Okay, so every node you can see what is the question, so the feature and the threshold. And in this node we have this entropy and this many samples, and each class has 50 samples and 50 sample and 50 sample. And if we split, now we have 50 samples in the first class, and we have 100 samples in the second and third class. And the entropy is 0 and entropy is 1.0. And now we can split this node one more time, and then here we have different number of samples in different classes and different entropies, and now we can have another questions, etc. So we can visualize the decision process. So that's why people love this decision tree. And we can calculate the importance value of features. So in decision tree, then we can measure how much impurity is decreased in the node. So we have one node. From this we split. Okay, so we can check how much impurity is decreased by splitting this node, and this split is based on the specific feature. So if we increase a lot of impurity, okay, if we decrease impurity a lot, then this feature is important, right? And in the regression problem, if this feature decreases MSE a lot after splitting, then this feature is important. Okay, so the value, if the value is high, the decrease is high, then the feature is more important. And in CART, we can calculate the importance of node n. Okay, so importance of node n is calculated by these equations. And this one is the probability of the node n, which means the number of samples in the node divided by the total samples. So basically, if we have a lot of samples in this node, then this node has high probability. Okay, then we split into the left one and right one, and we have gene impurity. And after splitting, we have gene impurity in the left node and gene impurity on the right node. And we calculate the weight and the gene impurity minus the left node and right node's gene impurity. And if this is high, then this node is important, because gene impurity means this node, the current node, is dirty, and then these nodes are clean. If this one is clean and this one is clean, then gene impurity is low. So if the difference between the parent node and child node is high, which means this split is good. If this split is good, then this feature is good. This node is splitted really well, and we use the specific feature to split this node. Okay, and the importance of feature f can be calculated based on this one. So we used a specific feature in the decision tree a lot. then we have to accumulate all the nodes. Okay, so this summation is over all the nodes which uses the feature f to split. And at this node, we can check the importance of that node, and this sum is over all the nodes. Okay, so we have split a lot. Okay, then in this node we use a specific feature f, and in this node we have specific feature f. Then we can calculate these two the importance of these two nodes. This goes to this numerator, and we can calculate the importance of all the nodes, and that goes to the denominator. And we have pros and cons in this entry, and the pros includes these things, and it's simple to understand and interpret and visualize. There's a lot of benefit, and the little effort is required for data preprocessing. That is a good thing too. We don't have to normalize. Okay, so the first feature goes from 0 to 1.0, and the second feature goes from 0 to 1,000. Okay, usually if we use some other machine learning algorithms, we have to define the distance, and in this case, since the scales are different for the features, then the distance measure would be ridiculous. So we have to normalize. So instead of using this scale, we have to normalize this one so that the feature goes from 0 to 1 by multiplying 0.001. Okay. So we need something like this kind of normalizations for other machine learning algorithms, but in this entry, we don't need that. Okay. So every node, we can select one feature, and then we can select we can define a threshold. That's it. And it is able to obtain the nonlinear decision boundaries for sure. Okay, and then it can handle both numeric and categorical data. Okay, that's a good thing too. Okay, I already explained what categorical data is. Okay, and it can overfit. This is not just the problem of this entry. So this one is a problem of all the machine learning algorithms. But if we cannot control the depth of this entry, then definitely it can be overfitting. Okay, so we have to control the depth of this entry. So we should know when to stop. And it can have a high variance. So model might be unstable because we have a lot of branches, right? So if we use one specific feature, when we use one specific feature at this root node, then let's say this one is something like that. And then if the t is 0.5 and it goes to the right subtree. If t is 0.4999, then it goes to the left subtree. So the difference between this one and this one is marginal. But based on this marginal difference, we can have left subtree or right subtree. Okay, so a little difference can make a lot of difference in the result. So that's why the models tend to be less stable, and it's not able to extrapolate. So let's say this one is smaller than, this one is larger than, then finally we have the leaf node here. If the value is larger than the threshold, then it will fall into this leaf node. So it cannot extrapolate. Let's say this one is t. we are using only one feature to split. So let's say this one is the first node, and then in the second node and the third node, we can split here like this. This is our decision tree. This is root node, and then next one, and then the next one, and then next one, and then next one. So it doesn't matter what kind of order we have. Anyway, this one is our decision tree. If the new node falls into this segment, then okay, so based on these samples, we can take an average. Okay, that's good. But what if we have a sample here? Okay, that's good. Okay, so we have some samples here, right? So based on this average, then we can predict the value for this sample. But what if we have a sample here? But still, this one will have the same result as this one, because this one is the rightmost node. Okay, and then we can calculate the average from that node. So even though the new sample has high value, but it doesn't matter. So we cannot extrapolate that much. And to overcome overfitting, then we can use early stopping and readjusting and simplifying the trained trees. We can use pruning, which means we can cut some branches off. Otherwise, we can use random forest. So instead of using just one single decision tree, we can use lots of trees, and then we can get the results from the trees, and then we can combine. Okay, that is random forest. So if you have to use decision tree, then if you have some enough computation power, then use random forest. All the time, random forest is at least better than a decision tree. Okay, because random forest uses lots of decision trees. A random forest is quite simple. Instead of using just one decision tree, use a set of decision trees. Okay, so build a couple of decision trees. In this slide, I'm showing just the two examples, but sometimes we can use 100 decision trees. Sometimes 50, 30, 100, 200, okay, depending on the problems. So you have to try different number of trees. Okay, the algorithm is really simple. Okay, given this set and with the labels, and m is the number of decision trees, so train the decision trees m times. And for predictions, we have a new sample here, then feed this sample to all the decision trees. Okay, and then all the decision trees will make a prediction, then just to take an average. For regression or for classification, then simply you can take a majority vote. And also in the random forest, we can talk about interpretability. And for visualization, we can plot the trees individually. Okay, and then we can calculate important value of features. In that case, we have to calculate the importance value of a feature with specific decision tree, and then we have to take an average of all the importance values from T decision trees. Okay, the random forest is really simple. Just use lots of decision trees. And this is a sample code to use random forest in sklearn. Okay, so just one line to define a random forest, and then one line to train the random forest, and that's it. If we have importance value for all the features, then we can use these importance values for a feature selection. When we have 100 features, so based on this importance value, then we can reduce the number of features into like 30 features. Okay, then there are some other methods for feature importance, like permutation and dropping of columns. So we can try many different things with different the set of features. Okay, that's it.